about that. Well, Kufar, Akbar, everybody, welcome to our cold Sunday, frozen Sunday edition of the Crescent discussion group. This is a YouTube live streamed show done every Sunday afternoon at 3 p.m. Well, maybe 3 p.m. Mountain. It's 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Our show is dedicated to rightly dividing the truth between Christianity and Islam. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Wow, that was kind of a wind-up. I was sitting here trying to do 5 other things. There's an article that I wanted to lead off with, but I hadn't brought it up yet because I got distracted because everybody else in this chat wants to talk about everything for the show. So
we're actually having a heat wave in Chicago. It's up to like 19 degrees.
19, wow.
So
wow.
So I'm in t-shirt and shorts now. Back outside.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Look who shows up right away. That's got nothing better to do with his life. Why don't you go get in a bunker, buddy, and leave the rest of the world?
Let's go to Gaza. Go to Gaza. Report from Gaza. We need some live streaming from Gaza as the bombs come in.
I wonder. I wonder where exactly in the West Bank he would be. Would he be up in Jenin, or would he be in Bethlehem terrorizing Chris? I wonder exactly. It doesn't matter. I could care less, to be honest with you. Okay, today's show is this right here. Let me bring it up here. It is the perpetuity of Islamic insult. I labeled it on my not so professional meme for the YouTube channel, Perpetual Butthurt, but I was warned by our professional consultant, Rad, that's just not very professional. That you should not say butthurt, Eric. I'm like, okay. No, butthurt is the word that I wanted to use. I'm not going to take it off of the slideshow here, but that's what the show is going to be about today. The article that I wanted to lead off with, though, and if you just indulge me just for a second, it's on WorldNet Daily, and it was let's see here. That's not it. That's not it. It says exposes network. It's called the title of the article: Hamas reveals hidden reason for October. Hidden reason for. Looks like I have to do October 7th attacks. And I thought it was actually. Oh, look at there! Israel knew Hamas attack plan more than a year ago. Israel conducted the attacks themselves. Yeah, all this baloney. It's actually quite disgusting when you start thinking about it. It's like 9/11 was an inside job type crap. Let me get that back. Okay, so let me jump over here to what this article did. The reason why I wanted to show this article is because it isn't that I don't say that I know everything, because I'm definitely not all-knowing. That's demonstrated me every day by my wife. But this article is quite telling. Let's just go through. This is from WorldNet Daily, and political experts pontificate on the war in Gaza. The military spokesman for the group has nothing to do with attempting to prevent or has to do with the attempt to prevent the ceremony of the red heifer. And this is where the red heifer, if you all know, this is one of, I don't want to say this is one of the signs of the end times, but this is one of the things that are necessary according to some people's eschatology. It says that the Jews must reinstate temple worship, and part of the process of reinstating temple worship. Can you guys hear that?
I hear something. What is it?
That's a rocket alert. That's the Hamas shooting rockets into Israel.
I thought they were shooting at you. How did you get the alert?
It might be. I don't know. I didn't look out in Kufar fan here.
How did you get the alert?
I have the app on the bat phone.
Oh,
Uh,
Let me interrupt. That Musa X guy, he's responding. He wants the link. If you want to give it to him.
he can stay down there for a little bit. We're gonna take care of something before we get. Thank you, Sharon. Though I saw that. Muslims, yeah. Okay, so this red heifer. Let's get back to the red heifer. The red heifer is as I mentioned, is part of some people's eschatological beliefs. There we go. And this is where, in order to cleanse the temple, a red heifer that is without blemish has to be sacrificed, and the blood has to be used to cleanse the temple. All right, number one, you need a temple, and this is the only way that I see a Jewish temple being rebuilt is if Hezbollah decides to just go full Harry Carey on this and just fire all of its missiles into Israel. And a lot of those missiles are pretty potent and have some quite a bit of range on them. And they inadvertently, quote unquote, hit Alaska and the Dome of the Rock and obliterate it. And Israel's like, the heck with you guys. You guys did this to yourselves. We're rebuilding our temple. They rebuild the temple, and then they come in and do this. But with that said, this article goes on to say that there have been, let's see, the iconic, this is the guy, Abu Yabadabadu. I don't know what his name is. I don't care. I'm not going to bring him up on X, but he said that the reason why that they did this was because they found, let's see, back, we like to remember educated, let's see, reminding them of aggression. Where is it? The red cows. Here it is. Referred to by the Hamas leader were 5 red female calves brought into September by Boneh Israel. And this is a Christian organization that cares for Israel. And in the process, what they've done is this is what evidently set these guys off. We can't have them, them reinstituting Third Temple worship services on the Temple Mount. That would be an affront, even though, folks, no Muslim ever set foot in Jerusalem. Jerusalem is not mentioned in the Quran at all. It's not mentioned at all. And nobody that was a Muslim ever went to Jerusalem. Yet Muslims claim Jerusalem, the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which did not exist in 623 or 621, whenever the Mirage, when Muhammad got on his Pegasus, his little magic pony, and rode it up there to Dominic posted something here. Here it is. Dominic, I should have known Dominic would have that right there. This is the ordinance of the law which the Lord hath commanded. Speak, saying that they bring a red heifer without spot, wherein is no blemish upon it. Thank you, Dominic, for that. It's always spot on. The flying donkey was. That's. I don't want to say that. Okay, so the bottom line here is that I got my pastor, or a guy that used to be our pastor. He's not our pastor anymore, but him and I go back and forth all the time, and with these things with eschatology. And he sent that to me this morning. I thought, you know what? I haven't heard that before. Let me put that on my show. So I appreciate you indulging me, and I'm just going to leave that one alone. And we're going to get back to the show topic today, which is Islamic offense, being constantly offended, and us having to be constantly reminded of their offense. And the reason why I brought this up, I'm going to show you here in a second. Let me bring up the slideshow. I put these little blurbs. I'm pretty impressed with my Hamas headband on, little whiny here. But the butthurt that we see stems from basically 3 things: criticism of Muhammad, criticism of the Quran, and when we look at the Hadith and the Sirah. But luckily for everybody on the show, and it looks like I've lost everybody already, but listen here, I have something Okay, if you have not gone over to the website yet, you need to go to thekufar.com, thekufar.com. Let me post it in chat. thekufar.com. And I'm going to post this over there for everybody to use, because if you ever get somebody that if you know of a Muslim that gets offended or is easily offended, I've come up with a form for them to fill out, and they can mail it to me. Let's see here. Here we go. It is the Butthurt Report. So when you find somebody that is offended by something that the kufar does, you can have them complete this form, and they don't even have to, complete it in its entirety. They can, complete part of it, or but just give me a brief example of why you're so offended, and you can send it to me over at thekufar.com, and I'll gladly read it and take it into consideration before I flush it.
Going back to the article, very interesting article. So you're saying that Hamas said that some Christians brought some red heifers?
Yes.
Right?
Five red heifers, yes.
Who were to the Temple Mount?
No, not to the Temple Mount. Had given them to Israel, and Israel is now in possession of these red heifers, which therefore makes them capable of following through, which Dominic posted in, what was that, Numbers 19:2, where it says, "This is an ordinance of the law, which the Lord hath commanded, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel that they bring thee a red heifer without spot, wherein there's no blemish upon them, and that this red heifer would be sacrificed to God." They did not have that in their possession, but now they evidently have 5 female heifers that could be theoretically bred.
So all this over a cow?
What's that?
All this over a cow.
At least it's not over one of my friends here, because I would feel terrible if they went to.
See, always choose the cow, people. Always choose the cow.
Here it is.
If I condemned my father to death, then you should be worried. Because if it comes down to 15 million Jewish innocent people and 300 million Arab clowns, I will choose the 15 million innocent people who did not start this war. If I have to choose between 1.6 billion Muslims and a cow, I will choose the cow.
Always choose the cow, people.
Choose the cow. That is so funny. All right, let's get back to this. All right, choose the cow. Okay, so go over to thekufar.com. I'll have this Butthurt Report posted up over there. So if you know somebody that might need this, you might want to email it to them, or notify them that we are accepting Butthurt Reports over at thekufar.com if you feel offended by the show or any other kafir. Okay, what set me off on this is I read this article. When is this? 15 January. What's today? Today's the 21st. So this is about a week ago, almost a week ago, last Monday, I guess. I've been out of school all week because it's been cold and it snowed, and the snow doesn't go away here because there's no snow removal equipment. So we have to wait for it to melt. Well, unfortunately, it's been above or below freezing, and nothing's melting in time. But anyway, let's look at this article here. Israeli soccer player arrested in Turkey. He's arrested in Turkey for inciting gesture to hostages. Now, look at the charge here, inciting. And he was flashing this thing on his arm, which signifies the hostages being in captivity, the Israeli hostages being in captivity for 100 days. And by flashing that to Muslims, what he has done is he has incited them to anger. He has caused them to suffer from butthurt, or to be offended, if that's the way Rad wants it worded, to be offended. And if you read in the article, Let's see. He scored a goal, his equalizer goal against whatever the top Turkish league, by making a heart sign with his hands to the camera and showed the words 100 days, October 7th, along with the Star of David. Now, he was promptly suspended until further notice, following appearance for his criticism. So if you look at this, this is absolutely ridiculous. Here you have a Jew who's playing soccer, and everybody wants to have their own little how do you do this heart thing? They do that, you know what I'm saying? Or you got the gang symbols where they're, he just wants to raise awareness. Look, there's it's been 100 days, and there's still Jews being held hostage by the Hamas. That's all they did, and they arrested him. Why? Because he's inciting Muslims. Now, I would like to know, how does reminding people that there are people who have been stolen, and being held in captivity under some of the most cruel, harsh conditions that one can imagine, to include some little kid that just celebrated his first birthday, oh, by the way, to include numerous other women who are no doubtedly not being treated like ladies. Why is that such a hateful, insightful thing? How can that be? Well, when we look at the rest of this and what I have here on the show, we can see exactly why. Here you have the Egyptian president. This is in 2020. It says that freedom of expression stops when Muslim. Oops, I'm sorry. There it is. Whoops. Let me get it up here. Right. There we go. Freedom of expression stops when Muslims are offended. Now, if freedom of expression stops when you offend somebody, what's the point of having freedom of speech? What would be that point? If you have to stop speaking when you presumably offend somebody, what's the purpose of freedom of speech? There is no freedom of speech if that is the case. I was watching a YouTube, or not a YouTube, it was on Rumble, I think, this morning. Is Dana White a UFC bigwig? Is that right, Dana?
He owns the organization.
Okay, so he's a bigwig in it, yeah.
Well, he owns it. So
okay, he owns it. Okay, I didn't quite make out. Okay, well, he owns it. So the guy that owns the whole UFC thing, they're interviewing this guy, some panty wearing lib from not to say that wearing panties is a bad thing, but if you're a guy, it is kind of anything. He is in Canada, and there was one of his fighters was talking about trans people or something, and doesn't agree with recognizing people who are what's the diagnosis for that? Gender dysphoria, is that are suffering from gender dysphoria. In other words, people who are confused about their sexuality, people who are, I mean, if you don't know if you're a boy or a girl, or if you're a boy and you think you're a girl, or if you're a girl and if you think you're a boy, that is your problem. That's not my, and what the problem that I have with it is that they want to make it my problem. They want me to participate in their little confused fantasy. And I absolutely refuse to do that. I ain't gonna go that far, but I refuse to do that. I will not participate. Well, this is what this reporter was saying. Well, don't you have these guys on a leash where they're saying about this? And he's like, what do you mean a leash? He goes, I don't have a leash on these guys. He says, it's freedom of speech, bruh. It's freedom of speech. It's called freedom of speech. If you disagree with somebody and you cannot express that, that's called totalitarianism. That's where democracy ends. Where if you try to stifle somebody's speech and saying, "Look, I think that you're a pervert because you're confused," and you're going to tell me that, well, I have to agree with you, or I have to play along, or I'm the one that is a hater, a bigot, a phobe of some type of. That's absolutely ridiculous. Here you have the president, even though he was the one that. He was the one. Who did he replace? Al-Sisi replaced. What was that guy's name? that he replaced that military dictator.
Is it Morsy? You're talking about Sisi in Egypt?
Yeah, Morsy. Yeah, Mohammed Morsy. There we go. Yeah, Morsy. Wasn't Morsy the one that wanted to suspend a couple things out of the Constitution about Sharia? He was Muslim Brotherhood guy. Am I right on this?
He was affiliated. We don't know exactly how far the affiliation went, but he had affiliation. He was technically democratically elected, as it is in those spaces, you know.
Democratically elected. Yeah.
I feel like Hamas was elected. I'm not sure what kind of election happens in the Middle East. I don't think it's not an election like here. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
It was a fair and free election. Come on, people.
No, come on now. You know, like with Hamas, they're probably like, "I will give you money, flus. I'll give you money. You go vote for me.
Yes.
I pay you. You vote." It's not like here we have rules. You know what I'm saying?
The thing about the Hamas is that you know, you get elected, and that's, let's say you are elected. Let's just pretend they were elected democratically. Now, when you elect somebody, isn't there like a term of office that you're supposed to hold? For example, like 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, or whatever, and then after that term, you're supposed to leave or again run for. There's supposed to be another election. That's the problem with. And this is the same thing with Sisi here in Egypt. I mean, he's been in there for 10 years now or whatever.
Well, so there's a couple funny things to this. Well, first of all, both Hamas and Fatah, they have not called for an election after that last disaster they had that got Hamas elected and got them to take over the Gaza Strip. But be that as it may. So the guy Morsy, he actually went on with one of the lefty reporters, what's her name? Diane something or other. I don't know, one of the 60 Minutes or whatever.
Oh, Diane Sawyer.
Diane Sawyer, yeah. And she's asking about the Sharia law. And he's, no, listen, through the translator. Listen, everybody's worried that we're just going to implement Sharia law right away. We're going to start chopping the hands off with thieves, and everybody's going to have to wear the hijab, and you know we're going to be stoning adulterers and doing that. No. We're not going to do that right away. It's going to be an education process. So it's going to be 5-10 years before we fully implement it.
Who said this? Which one said this?
This is the guy, the Morsy guy, the Hamas guy.
Mohammed Morsy. Okay.
Yeah, no, he literally says it. I got to find that clip. He literally says, "Don't worry, we're not going to do it right away." He actually is chopping off people's hands, you know, and stoning adulterers. He actually mentions it, you know. Don't worry about it. It's going to be an education period where, you know, you're going to get used to it, and then we're going to implement it, so you know what's coming. Anyway, that's not the real funny part. So this guy gets elected. Sisi is in prison, right? I think it was Sisi, right? No, who was it? The one they drove out?
Mursy.
No, Morsy. No, before Morsy. Remember they had the Arab Spring.
Oh yeah.
Mubarak.
Yeah. Mubarak.
Okay, well, whoever it was. So he's in prison, right? Morsy gets elected, and then they arrest Morsy, and on the same day Morsy is being thrown in prison, the guy Mubarak, the guy that they thrown out and was put in prison, he's being released from prison the very same day. The very same day. So in other words, they had this whole Arab Spring for like, I don't know, I think it was like a month. I still don't know where all those people went to the bathroom at. But anyway, had all those people out there, right? Protesting, chanting, you know, taking over the Arab Spring. They drive their guy out. They actually put him in jail. Okay, and then they elect the Hamas guy, and all of a sudden they realize that no, this Hamas guy is not Hamas guy, Muslim Brotherhood guy. And they realize no, this guy's serious. They're really going to do this to us. This is not what we wanted. Because remember, these were all lefties. These were all lefty lunatics that drove them out. Okay, they weren't necessarily Muslim pro-jihadis, but they were lefties. They threw them out, and they're like, no, wait a second, maybe we should put him in jail and then bring back the other guy and then put somebody else in. And that's how they now got Sisi, I believe his name is. Yeah. So that's kind of funny.
I was thinking now Sisi was like a general or something that had a military coup to remove.
Yeah, he was.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is Al-Sisi, the good guy, evidently, that replaced the bad guy. We don't, you know, your freedom of speech ends when is when we were offended. So what I did was I went in and I did a little investigating. Of course, I typed some stuff into DuckDuckGo, and it spat out a couple things where people they come in and told us what they get offended at and why. So what I've done is I've taken some screenshots of this. This is from Quora.com, what really offends Muslims. And here you have Tausif M. Khan. So I'm a firm believer that everybody has the right to exercise free speech. No, you don't, because you would not qualify it then. Here's how he qualifies it. Having said that, I also believe with the right of free speech comes great responsibility. See, he doesn't understand. This is where he's confused. This is so stupid. You have to be free speech is guaranteed by the Constitution because people speak irresponsibly sometimes. But the fact of the matter is that you can say whatever you want. You are not bound by some type of code. As long as you're not provoking or threatening people, you can say whatever the heck you want. And when he says that, well, it comes with great responsibility. No, it does not. What comes with great responsibility is recognizing other people's freedoms. That's where the responsibility comes, not with what you say. I can sit here and say, and be as irresponsible as I want. I go to...
What was that?
That's my grandson trying to FaceTime me, forgetting that I have my radio show right now. Or probably he doesn't care. I'm calling you anyway, Papa. Anyway, this clown does not believe in free speech, but he says he does. Speaking ill against any community, ethnicity, religion, etc., out of spite, ignorance, or what have you, is simply wrong, and every group of individual have their sensitive spots. Now, I would agree with this. If you are calling people the N-word or calling Jews the K-word or calling Hispanic, okay, but you're still free to say it. You're still free to offend people, but then you have to answer for it. You have to answer for it. And if you can't answer with it, people say, okay, well, he's a bigot, and then walk away. You don't have to listen to it. But the fact that you're going to say that it comes with great responsibility is just kind of stupid. It's simply wrong, and every group individual have their sensitive spot. So it's simply wrong to do that. I would agree. To call people, racial slurs or religious slurs or whatever, yeah, I would say that's probably wrong. However, to provide a constructive criticism of somebody's religion is not hateful. Now listen to what he says here. As a Muslim who has lived in the West and witnessed Islamophobia, notice he uses this word, Islamophobia. That is the catch-all word for any criticism of Islam. If you criticize Islam, you're an Islamophobe. No questions asked. You have to do nothing but praise Islam. In certain places, the media, etc., I have a few gripes with how I perceive because of my religion as a whole is insulted. Speaking ill of Prophet Muhammad, mostly out of ignorance. Okay, now listen what he qualifies it. He says, it's completely understandable that you may not agree with his teachings, and that is fine, for you disagree and posit constructive arguments or even criticisms. Okay, now we're getting someplace. You can criticize his teachings. For example, the teaching that if you capture women in battle, you can rape them on the spot, even if their husbands are there. If you teach people that they resemble one of their parents because their one parent had an orgasm before they, that's fine. You can teach that if you want, but I can disagree with it, and that's what he's saying. However,
and we can also mock that and make fun of that and laugh at you for believing such a stupid thing.
This is where I'm getting to it. But look at here. He says, but outright name calling, such as pedophile. Okay, so your own writings in 5 of the 6 most popular compilers of Hadith literature Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, Sunan Abu Dawud, Al-Nisi, however you pronounce his name. And there's one other one I can't remember off the top of my head. 5 of the 6 most compilers all say Aisha was 9. Muhammad was 53 years old when he consummated his marriage with her. What does that make you? What do you call somebody that does that? Do you call them a prophet? Do you call them the example to follow for all time? Or do you call the guy a pervert, a pedophile?
Well, according to the Imam from Texas, any 50-year-old man who's sexually attracted to a 9-year-old girl is a pervert and possibly suffers from erectile dysfunction or whatever. Yeah, impotency.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. But the fact of that, to say that we cannot call him a pedophile when your own sources describe pedophilic behavior, and then you couple that with the fact that this guy is supposed to be the example for all Muslims to follow. No, sir. We're going to say that here on this show. We're going to say it, and we're going to say it in public discourse because it is a fact. Muhammad was a pedophile, according to your sources. I don't believe your sources any farther than I can throw them, but according to your sources, the sources that you do believe, that's what he was. A rapist. Well, okay. If you have your right hand, what your right hand possesses, and you have sex with them, that is called rape. We would say that, and one of the most famous examples that people like to use is, Thomas Jefferson. He raped his slave girl and had a child with her, and that is an accurate description of, if you have a slave and you do that to your slave, I would classify that as rape, because it is the forcible engagement of a sexual relationship between somebody with power and somebody that has none, and you're forcing yourself upon that person. That's rape. So to call him a rapist and you get offended by that, it's inimical to meaningful discussions and absolutely disrespectful. Why is it difficult? Why is it disrespectful? Why is it disrespectful to draw conclusions from those sources that you trust to be completely authentic? Why is that disrespectful? You're the one that believes those sources. I don't believe those sources, but you do. And since you do, then therefore it is incumbent upon you to explain to me your offense. Why are you so offended? These are your sources. If they are not your sources, that's fine. Okay. Then you can go, well, just consider the source. Okay, consider the source. But if you believe this, if they are indeed authentic, then that is your problem. That is not my problem. And for you getting offended at it is indeed your problem, because now what you're doing is you are going to call people like me, where's the word? Right here, an Islamophobe. You can say that's Islamophobia. No, it's not. It's called telling the truth. What you try to do is you try to shut down the conversation by telling people that they're Islamophobes, but you can't. I could care less what you call me, and I think everybody in the panel here could care less what you would call somebody if we are in fact citing facts, and that's what we're doing here. And to say that not to mention this sort of behavior is unacceptable to many. How is it unacceptable? How is it unacceptable? How is it unacceptable to quote your own sources? That to me is unacceptable. If you're not, and when we engage people, we all know what happens when you engage people on this. It's a very sensitive issue. I get it, because to call your prophet a pedophile, who you think is the most beloved man, most perfect man to ever live, sleeping with a prepubescent little girl, that's not, that's sick, is what it is. And I could understand the anger, but then that is incumbent upon you to enter into discussion to tell me why that is okay. And and we've heard these guys start at well, what really is a woman, or in that last debate that the imam made, what does consummate really mean? Come on, we know what it means, and we know what happened here. So nobody cares. He goes on to say, expecting all Muslims to, number two, to apologize for every single time some Muslim fanatic or extremist perpetrates a violent or terrorist activity in some part of the world. And I agree. This is ridiculous and unimaginably offensive and detrimental to having a healthy relationship. And I don't expect every Muslim to condemn every terrorist attack out there. However, if you are indeed having a discussion with somebody, for an example, let's say we are discussing what the Hamas did to the Israelis on October 7th of 2023. And you start talking about some of the things that they did to those Jews. They, they raped women. It's been proven that they did this. They shot people in cold blood. It's proven that they did this. They burned people alive. It's been proven that they did this, and all kinds of other horrific things to people. And then if you are engaging in a conversation, and you refuse to admit that that is wrong under some guise of some cause for the Palestinians need their land back. Well, this isn't about land at all. Anyway, it's never been about land. It's just been about Jew hatred. Is all it's been about. Then this is a problem. I wouldn't expect that. I mean, is there anybody here that would say? Because I've heard some people say that all. Let's see, how does that go? All Muslims are not terrorists, but all terrorists are Muslim. Would somebody agree with that?
Pretty much, yeah.
I don't agree with it. Here's why.
I don't agree with it because the Democrats have a pile of domestic terrorists. I mean,
this is true.
No. But they're infiltrated by jihadists too. I mean, one of the leaders, at least one of them, is civilizational jihadist. I don't remember her name, but I'm sure Antifa is also infiltrated.
Yeah, and I would classify a lot of things that the Antifa dingalings have done as terroristic, and they should be charged with acts of terrorism, and that's the qualifier. Because as soon as you say the word "all," that automatic. If anybody that's done peer-reviewed research and writing knows that just as soon as you use that word "all" or every time, then you've lost the argument, because somebody could come up with an outlier and say this person, like let's say the Irish Republican Army, are they terrorists? Well, yeah, they were terrorists. Would you say that some of the factions in Europe, they've had people that have committed terrorist activities for their political beliefs? So to say that it's all religiously motivated is ridiculous. However,
okay, let me clarify. Hold on, let me clarify. Not all Muslims are terrorists, but all Islamic terrorists are Muslims. See what I did there?
So, okay, the second part, all Islamic.
All Islamic terrorists are Muslims.
Well, by definition, that's true. By definition, that is true. Okay, so for example, Boko Haram, not designated Boko Haram as a terrorist organization. Have we designated Boko Haram as a terrorist organization? Does anybody know?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
well, who knows? Biden's in office, so he probably, if they were, he probably declassified them, just like he declassified
like the Houthis. Yeah. Can somebody fact check me on that to see? Because I don't think Boko Haram has been declared a.
I can look it up, but I need to say something first.
Okay, go ahead.
When Muslims give zakat, or when they push halal food, or there's something else I can't think of off the top of my head, but when they do that, they're financing violent jihad, which everybody calls terrorism. because part of zakat is required to pay or to fund violent jihad. You know.
Say that one more time.
Oh, okay. When Muslims give zakat or zakat,
Zakat. Right.
zakat, okay, they're financing violent jihad because per Sharia, it's required to be divvied up according, to Sharia law, and part of that is required to go to violent jihadists. It's H81.7.
Yeah.
What they
I
do
would
is,
have to look that up, and I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'd have to move all my pigs, and I don't really want.
oh, okay.
But I agree that there is a certain amount of the zakat. Now that you bring that up, there's a certain percentage of the zakat that needs to be paid towards advancing Islam in the form of jihad. Now, if that jihad is kinetic, violent, or if that jihad is dawah? I don't. There's all kinds of different ways that they get around.
Well, it's just terminology. You know how the Democrats do it too. They call themselves progressives, but they're really commies.
Yeah.
It's just how they use the words, but it's in Sharia law.
Yeah. Because I think Paul's brought that up on his show before. What was the division? What was the section for that again?
I'm gonna copy paste it from a post I got here.
Right. All right. 8 print recipients of the zakat. There we go. Yeah. Okay. Muslims are offended by pigs, as I know. Think that we get arrested for putting bacon. What was that? Putting bacon on a mosque. How about putting a pig on the Reliance of the Traveler, the Sharia? Is that offensive? I don't know. I had the Sierra up there at one time too. Okay, let's bounce back to this clown. I'm sorry, we get distracted here. And let's see. Not all of us are terrorists looking to blow up the next best opportunity. I agree with that. I remember this incident in my stay in England. It was quite late at night. I was waiting for a bus back to the university. I was waiting with my backpack and listening to music with my headphones on. Suddenly, this elderly English man approaches me and strikes up a conversation. He starts with the question whether or not I'm Muslim or not. When I answer yes, he points to my backpack and asks very seriously, "What do you have there? A bomb?" Now, again, I think he's full of crap. I don't think anybody would walk up to anybody, "Oh, you got a bomb in there, huh?" Again, this is, when I'm not going to get into it, but I think he's full of crap.
Also notice he says he's a Muslim, but he's listening to his music on his headphones.
Oh, so, yeah.
I mean, that's haram.
Music is indeed haram. Good catch, Rad. Way to go. You're absolutely right.
But I wouldn't be so easily to dismiss this guy's claim, because you do remember after the 7/7 bombings, anyone with a backpack that had like wires coming out of it was like shot in the head on the train station. They actually killed that one kid. Remember, he's a Brazilian, and they followed him, and he had his Walkman or in his backpack, and had the headphone wires coming out of his backpack, and he jumped over the turnstiles, okay, because he's a fair jumper, and then they started chasing him, and he ran in their subway, and they held him down, and they just shot him in the head.
Who did this?
The British police.
The British police did it?
Yeah, their armed response team. No, it was a big deal. They had to apologize. He was an exchange student from Brazil. They had to pay the family. I mean, no, it was a big deal. It was a horrible, tragic situation. But again, I blame those idiots who got on the buses and the subways with actual bombs in their backpacks.
Probably, and I'm guessing it was probably around the time of 7/7 attacks. Too.
No, it was. It was like a week later. I mean, everybody was on.
Oh yeah, well then there you go. Well, I'm not excusing it, but I can see where everybody's tensions are really high because of this. All right, I got another one here. Let's see here. I hope you are asking this for the sake of holding tolerance with each other. Don't use it to offend Muslims. Okay. I will try to rank them by what I think offends me most. Disgracing Muhammad. When you create a silly, shameful comic about him. And you don't know how he lived his life, why he was highly regarded by friends and enemies alike. Don't even try that, please. You are asking to be punched in the face. I'm tolerant, but I'm going to punch you in the face if you say something. And I'm going to do it with, now I do not know what vibranium metal is. So I looked it up. And evidently, I'm guessing, where is he here? Nico is here. I'm thinking Nico would probably know what vibranium metal is because I listened to he was on a podcast last week and they were talking about comic book heroes, Marvel comic movies where they have, you guys know what I'm talking about, don't you? They have.
Panther. You're talking about Panther.
I can't.
You're talking about Wakanda, where they have the vibranium in Wakanda, the magical, mythical.
There we go. Okay, so yeah, Wakanda. No, that's okay. I just looked it up, and so that this guy evidently has been watching too many Marvel comic movies, and he's saying, "I'm going to punch you in the face with vibranium metal." Would that hurt? Does that? I mean, is like a powerful metal? Is this like I'm going to hit you with a piece of metal and it's like worse than getting hit with a like a aluminum bat or something?
They make a lot of high-level weapons within Wakanda. It's actually really interesting. If they made Wakanda European, people would call it racist. You know what I mean? So okay. I think that's an interesting kind of situation, honestly speaking.
Okay.
So wait. So this is what I'm talking about. These guys all sound like they're these evil comic book villains. You know what I mean? You ever notice that? I mean, no, they come off like, I mean, seriously, like I especially love that. You know, when we're talking about the Stooges of Dawa, they're all like, "I'm not going to tell you my dastardly plan," and the next thing you know, here's my dastardly plan.
I'm going to do this and this and this to you.
Yeah, it's like, what the hell, dude?
It's supposed to be a secret or something. Come on. Yeah.
They all come out sounding like this, and this dude, I'm going to punch you in the face with vibranium metal or vibranium and whatever, dude. Seriously.
Okay. So us Muslims don't even dare to create a picture of him because we think whatever we draw will not be good enough to depict him. Okay, but if I'm not a Muslim and I draw a picture of Muhammad, then what? I can't do that. What?
But actually, that's not even true. They had pictures of Muhammad.
Oh, we're getting to that. We are getting to that. Let's see here. And we were just discussing this on Paul's show. Not allowing us to do our prayer. Let's see here. We're supposed to do our uninterrupted prayer 5 times a day with each specified time range. That's not true. Am I correct on that, Sharon? And Mutahari, am I correct on that? Didn't we just get?
No, that's not true.
Say that again.
Is this right here? What it says, not allowing us to do our prayer. We're supposed to do our uninterrupted prayer 5 times a day with each.
No, that's not true.
Yeah, that's not true.
We just went over that the last couple of videos.
But yeah, guys, they get exceptions for when it's raining. It's raining outside. You don't have to go do your prayers. It's ridiculous. The excuses that you use.
Sharia is so crazy. It's just so contradictory.
Okay.
Towards prayer.
Here's one. Purposely make us eat or drink something that is not halal. That's the goal of every capper out here. We want to slip you a piece of bacon or a glass of wine or a alcohol. Come on.
I mean, that makes no sense because you have vegan Christians and you have Christians who don't drink. So, like, Christians are a wide spectrum. There are Christians who are vegan and don't eat any meat. So,
yeah, but I mean, to say that Christians want to, make them eat, not halal food. That's about as dumb as the day is long. Oh yeah, that's our goal. We want to make sure that you're consuming some pork. Anybody knows somebody that wants to do that to get on a Muslim into. There was a YouTube. You ever see some of these prank shows? Okay, there was these Muslims, and they were serving other Muslims turkey bacon. And at the end, after the other Muslims were eating the turkey bacon, the guy comes out and he goes, "Oh, no, I'm sorry. This was really real bacon." And so the reaction of these guys is like, oh, they're trying to make themselves throw up, and they're trying, they want to give this guy a beat down. He goes, "Oh no, it's a prank."
Well, he should have got the beat down.
Well, I get it. I understand that. That's fine. But we are not out here planning like that. Nobody is planning that for you. If you feel that you're going to go to Burger King and somebody might put a piece of bacon on your bacon, egg, and cheeseburger, don't order it. Okay, order something else.
Could I tell you a couple stories about that? Because
Sure.
I had one of them was with my cousin. I went to lunch with my cousin, and we went to this what's that, Olive Garden or something, and
My paisans and Olive Garden, you see.
and he ordered this food, but he said to them, he says, make sure, he asked first, is there bacon on it? And they said, we could take it up, put it on the side. He says, I don't want no bacon on it. He said, I'm a Muslim, I don't want bacon. Okay. And then so they went, but they accidentally, they did put the bacon on it. And when they brought it, my cousin told the guy, he said, listen, I'm a Muslim, I don't eat bacon. Why did you put bacon on? You know what happened as a result? The waiter went and talked to the manager, and they gave us all of our meals for free. They were so scared.
Right. So they would say, just to show how they understand the sensitivities behind it.
But I had another thing too, is that I was in Colombia once, and even though I've been a Christian 45 years, I still can't eat bacon. I can't. And I went to Burger King and I ordered a hamburger, and I never, I don't speak Spanish that good and stuff, but I was eating this hamburger, this Whopper, and it was the best hamburger I've had in my entire life. It was like, this is what a hamburger is supposed to taste like. It was so delicious. But then I opened it and there was bacon in it. And then I couldn't eat it because anyway.
Bacon makes everything better, but if you don't want to eat bacon, that's okay. More bacon for me. But no, seriously, I'll tell you a funny story. One of my contracts a while ago, a couple years ago, actually before the pandemic, went out for lunch with some of my coworkers, and one of them was Muslima, and she ordered something. I was this in gravy, and I'm like, I just kind of looked at her, and she's like, "Does it have pork in it?" I'm like, I wasn't gonna say anything because if they don't know, you know what I mean? Why tell them? Actually, it actually says that in halal laws or whatever. If you eat it, you don't know it's bacon. There's no sin on you. But I kind of gave her a look, and I'm like, yeah. It's like, oh, I can't have that. I'm like, yeah, but it's good. Because she was telling me she ate there before. She's like, but it's so good. I'm like, yeah. So I'm gonna. Yeah. Anyway, more for me. But no, we don't want. I mean,
nobody goes out of the point is nobody purposely goes out of their way to try to slip you a Mickey. I mean, it's just as far as your, so you would break your dietary vows. I mean, that's but this is the butt hurt that we see. I'm going to try to get through these other one. This one with Muslims are that's boring. But right here, if you see a girl wearing hijab, respect her choice. Respect her choice. Respect her choice.
Right.
Is that her choice? That's the problem. It's not her choice. I was in DC a couple years ago, and there was a woman that was in full burqa. I mean, she had black covered from head to toe, and it was probably 100 and it was over 100 degrees. And in DC, it's muggy, and you could literally see her back was almost completely wet from her sweating through this dadgum thing. And to say that she has the freedom to wear a hijab is absolutely ridiculous. Nobody should, even in any culture, should be made to suffer those kinds of indignities. Now, if you want to cover your hair, I don't. That's up to you. To go ahead. But when the problem that I have, the problem I have is when they're forced to do it. If a woman can show her hair, okay, this is stupid. If a woman can show her hair, why can she not cover it? That's I don't have a problem with that. Where I have a problem is when you force women. You force women to cover their hair, and we see a lot of this going on in the Islamic Republic of Iran today. And what's this? It's my daughter. In the Islamic Republic of Iran, you have a lot of people protesting this, where they are just absolutely refusing to wear hijab. And again, what you're seeing here is that women do not, in fact, have where he says her choice it says right there, her choice, respect her choice. And nobody's making fun of them. That's just absolutely ridiculous. People are not making fun of them.
Okay. They do have the freedom to wear it if they want. They just don't have the freedom to take it off.
Right. that's the problem. That's the problem I have. Because when you say that they have a choice, they do in fact not have a choice. The fact of the matter is that they don't have a choice. What happens if she doesn't wear it?
You get acid.
I have a problem with the burqa and the abaya for security reasons. I mean, and also, I mean, I'm sorry, these women, okay, they go to get their driver's license and they don't have to take the crap off. You know what I mean? To get a picture on their driver's license. Who are you going to know driving? You know what I mean? Second of all, they shouldn't be driving anyway. That's beside the point. But no, I mean, it's a total security thing. So yeah, I don't think that we should. Now look, if you want to wear the hijab and cover your hair, okay, I can see the benefits of that. You know, if I was a woman, which I'm not, and I never want to be because that's just painful. But no, I mean, you know, it's like wearing a baseball cap. You know what I'm saying? You know, hey, I'm having a bad hair day. I don't have to worry about it. And you know, a lot of women that I talk to that do wear the hijab back in the day, they would all say the same thing. Look, I don't have to worry about certain things. If I want to go outside and my hair is a mess, I can just cover my hair.
Okay, but actually, if I'm going through airport security and I'm wearing a hat, I have to take the hat off.
That's my point. That's my point. Yeah, that's.
And I think that you know, I think that they should have to take it off, or some of them if they have to stand for a mugshot. Oh, the indignity of having to take my hijab off to get my mugshot for robbing a bank or whatever the heck it was. That's not an indignity. Okay, I have another one here, right here. And I think this guy was trying to make a point. What really offends me as a Muslim is the unjust killing of human beings. Hiroshima, Nagasaki. So he's talking about nuclear explosions are offensive. Now let me just back up a little bit on that. And here's the art. You know, people saying, "Well, how many people were needlessly killed? Look at all the civilians you killed." Look, we firebombed Tokyo. And about burned the entire place down, killing hundreds of thousands of people. And they still refused to surrender. If we would have sent our expeditionary forces into Japan, it would have cost another 100,000 American lives. And after 4 years of war, which was started by, yes, the Japanese, Americans were tired of seeing hundreds of thousands of Americans come back in caskets. So they decided to drop what was it? Hiroshima was the first one. And Japan still refused to surrender. So they dropped the second one at Nagasaki. Then
even after they dropped the second one, the emperor finally with his cabinet, a day later, 2 days later, decided to surrender. They pre-recorded a message announcing the surrender of the emperor's voice. But even after that, before the message was released, there was a coup attempt. Literally, there was a coup attempt to overthrow the government, take the emperor hostage, and continue on with the war. The problem they had was one of the generals that they coerced into it committed suicide instead of going through with it, and they couldn't find the pre-recorded record that had the emperor's voice, so they finally had to surrender and they killed themselves. But no, they almost pulled the coup off. They don't know. Seriously, these dudes are hardcore. They were not going to give up. No.
Well, I know they thought that the emperor was a god, and it kind of destroyed people's. Anyway, I did. That's not the point I'm trying to make here. The point is that okay, this guy hates, unjust killings, and now I'm just saying that maybe the nukes at Hiroshima and Nagasaki weren't unjust as he insists. But then he lists all these other places. Srebrenica, wasn't that in the Balkans or something?
I think that was in the Srebrenica. Wasn't that in the like Albania or something?
Yeah, that was That was during the
Now this one in Jenin. Jenin is that supposed massacre that occurred in the city of Jenin there in Israel, where they were
West Bank.
how many people are they supposed to kill on that? Like 50 or so, or I don't know. And then they turn around and they say, no, that wasn't true, and it wasn't true. But anyway, let's just go with this guy, okay? Jenin, and then he goes on to say, Auschwitz. Nobody's going to disagree with you on Auschwitz. But my question is this right here. This is my question. There have been 44,609, and this was taken. I brought this up like 3 days ago. So it's more than 44,609 terrorist attacks conducted in the name of Islam since September 11th, 2001. 44,000. And you want to talk about Hiroshima, Nagasaki, Jenin, that didn't even happen, Auschwitz, which, that's 70, 80 years ago. That's what you want to talk about. And this is, again, where you try to engage people in a serious tone with this. This is the crap you get. They don't want to, because they're not serious people. And because they want to try to control Anyway, okay, so this is where Rad had brought up. This is, most of all, I'm offended Muslim. This is a university. Here's a university that was teaching, what is he here? There was what happened here? A senior in class who was, now look at this. The senior, who is also the president of the Muslim Student Association, complained later that the depictions of Muhammad offended her Muslim sensibilities. As a Muslim and a black person, now what does that have to do? I mean, do you get to be doubly offended because you're Muslim and black? Or does they're showing a picture of Muhammad insult the sensibilities of black people and not white people or Asian people or Hispanic people? This is the race baiting garbage that absolutely disgusts me.
It's the oppression hierarchy. Okay, I'm actually inventing a board game called the oppression hierarchy, but just always remember, black trans women of color trumps everything. They are the most oppressed. Okay, but in this case, she's doubly oppressed. Okay, doubly offended because she's one, a Muslim, and two, a black person.
Okay,
so therefore she gets double oppression.
Notice she said, I feel like I don't feel like I belong. And I don't think I'll ever belong in a community where they don't value me as a member and they don't show me the same respect as I show them, which is a complete line of garbage. Why? Well, before showing the slide of the painting, the instructor issued a content warning and spent over 2 minutes providing context about the depiction of Muhammad. And he explained to them, this is why I'm doing this. You have the opportunity to leave if you're going to be offended. So what does the president of the student Muslim, or what is it called? The Muslim Student Association, MSA, Muslim Student Association, who happens to be black, say, I'm deeply offended. Is that what she said? No, that's not what she said. I feel like I don't belong in a community where they don't value me as a member. Get your ass out of class, lady, if that is going to offend you. Because it's part of here in the West where we can actually teach the cultural significance of paintings, the cultural significance of pictures, and how they're depicted. God forbid, there was one article that I brought up where you had an entire school get offended, Muslim school get offended, because the instructor showed paintings from the neo-Gothic period of partially clothed women. Oh my gosh. Again, this is this idea of being butthurt, being offended all the time in perpetuity, finding anything, drawing any type of conclusion that they possibly can in order to feign some type of offense. I'm going to sue you because you offended me. No. This is the United States of America. If you don't want to be offended, go to Pakistan. I'm sure they'll ban that type of artwork there. If you don't want to be offended, go to Afghanistan. They don't want to do that there either. Okay. This next one. What next one do I have here? Oh, yes. This is my favorite. Now, let me see. Where's Paul? Paul not here today? Paul would probably remember this because I remember this very succinctly. The evening that it happened. And the reason is because Blog Talk Radio that we used to broadcast on over at the Global Patriot Radio Network, also known as Radio Jihad, or used to be known as Radio Jihad, sent 2 reporters down there. The 2 reporters were Big Al. He's on Vito's show, Mamma Mia No Sharia, every Monday. And the other one was Damon Rosen. Damon is a crazy man. And Damon made Aliyah to Israel, by the way. But anyway, they go down there. Well, and this shooting happens. But let me just give you an idea of what happened here in these shootings. Okay. Does all horrible... What does this say? Oh, whoops, I'm sorry. It said offend black Muslim. I don't know. That very well may be. I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay. Let's see here. First off, you have the Charlie Hebdo massacres. How many people were killed in Charlie Hebdo? Does anybody know off the top of their head? Like 15? Am I right?
15,
What?
I thought it was 11, but
11? Okay.
I may be wrong here. So.
Okay. Somebody fact check Steve.
I'm Palestinian. I'm offended by that.
Okay, so you have the Charlie Hebdo. You get a bunch of people who draw cartoon caricatures of Muhammad, and you have 2 clowns or 3. It doesn't matter. A couple clowns go into the Charlie Hebdo magazine offices and machine gun people to death. And immediately after this, you have this big uproar across the world saying, look, not all Muslims are violent. However, you offended, this newspaper offended our sensibilities by drawing these pictures of these depictions of Muhammad. Now, I will admit, those depictions were pretty awful. I mean, but they mock they mock Jesus Christ, they mock the Pope, they mock rabbi, they mock everybody in that. So if you're going to be offended, don't look at it. Okay, I mean that's what we do here in the West. But if they want to draw these pictures, let them and leave them alone. Well, no, these guys following the Sunnah of Muhammad of having poets killed for writing poetry that mocked him. He had people killed. So what do the people do? They follow his Sunnah and they go to Charlie Hebdo and they massacre people. But there's this big outcry where they have this huge conference out in Garland, Texas, at the event center there, where it was called Defend the Prophet Conference. I don't know if you all remember this, but the whole purpose of this conference was to say that, look, we should not be allowing people to draw pictures of our beloved prophet. And the reason why is because these things happen. Because if you draw pictures of him, it's going to make people so angry, they're going to want to kill you. All the while forgetting the fact that, look, it's just a picture. It's just a cartoon. But they want to defend the honor of the prophet. Well, 2 of the guys that went out there to cover this, Damon Rosen, which is a very Jewish name, and Alan Corman, which is another very Jewish name.
What happened? Uh-oh.
He got.
Uh-oh.
Did the rapture happen?
He'll be back in a minute.
Yeah, it looks like his computer crashed again. He's got to get a new computer. I'm getting tired of working on that thing. There's something seriously wrong with it, and I can't fix it. But anyway,
You know what?
yeah, hold on. He's responding. Go ahead.
I just want to say, you know, that thing, it was called the Draw Muhammad contest. It was with Pamela Geller and Robert Spencer. And I talked to Robert Spencer about that. And he said there was, and I'm not 100% sure how this story goes, but it sounded like the FBI knew those two guys that were going to shoot up the thing. They knew they were there. And it was, you know, the car was parked. They knew it was like behind the guys that did the shooting. The FBI car was parked behind them. So I'm very suspicious that the FBI somehow they knew something. You know, I'll just say that. But listen to Robert Spencer. When he was on my program about 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, he said because he was there. He's one of the sponsors of this thing, and he said it was the FBI was like parked behind the guys that did this, and they were. They're parked behind them. Why didn't you stop them? You know.
Well, no, that's the thing. They do know. Well, all these things that come out and say, yeah, they were on our radar, and you know, but we didn't have evidence enough to prove. Yeah. So, but here's a fun fact. You know, Vocab Malone, he actually worked with one of the guys.
Yeah, they're from Phoenix. Yeah.
Yeah, he actually worked with one of the guys that was in that shooting. But yeah. But welcome back, Eric, to your show.
We thought the rapture happened. You were the only one who went.
You need a new computer. That computer sucks, dude.
Right, okay, don't even go there, brother. I have said some things here where I'm going to have to go to church again tonight to beg forgiveness. Golly, how frustrating can this possibly be? Anyway, it can be pretty frustrating. All right, so where was I? And you guys probably already finished it up. Okay, so what I was saying was Alan Corman and Damon Rosen were denied entrance into this conference. And this is after they spent, and this is the thing, this is Blog Talk Radio. This isn't a radio station that has a budget to send people off on, you know, flights across the country to go cover hotel rooms and rent-a-cars and all this, that, and the other. This is their own money. Well, they get out there, they're denied an entrance in this, and they come back, and they are tied to a guy by the name of Tom Trento. Does anybody know who Tom Trento is here by chance in chat or here in?
No.
Nobody knows.
I've heard the name, I think. I heard the name.
Okay.
Yeah, I've heard of him. I think he lives in Florida.
Yeah, he has a network called United West, the United West, and so they're associated with him. But when they got out there, they were denied entrance. Okay, so this word gets back to Tom. Tom gets it back to Pamela Geller and Robert Spencer. They said, okay, you want to deny them entrance into your conference? Fine, we're going to have our own conference. And we're going to have it in the same event center as you're hosting your Defend the Prophet conference. And in this, where you were saying that you can't draw pictures of Muhammad, guess what we're going to do? We're going to have our own conference drawing pictures of Muhammad, and we're going to have a competition for this. So this is where they have this conference in Garland, Texas. And I heard you talking about the guy that Vocab knew, those two clowns driving from Phoenix, Arizona, 1,000 miles or however far it is. And they get out there to shoot this place up. And fortunately, they had a off-duty policeman who was pulling security for them that night, pull out his revolver, and he killed two guys with machine guns. Yeah. So when we think this is the actual picture that won the conference. This is what's the guy's name? Bash Faustin. Does anybody know the guy's name who drew this? The guy who won that? I think it's something Bash Faustin or something like that. And it says here that's you can't draw me, and he's drawing a picture of Muhammad. And here it is. Here's his name right here, Bash Faustin. Yeah, and it writes, "That's why I draw you." That one. This is what offended them so much that they were going to drive 1,000 miles to go kill people. And these cartoons came out later. This is an actual picture of one of the paintings at the conference. So that might have been the offensive one. Or if you go over here and look at this one right here. But here you have armed security, or actually this is the SWAT team coming out there afterwards. This is what they wore. Okay, we've gone through this, gone through this, gone through this, gone through that, gone through that, gone through that, gone through that. Okay, let's look at some other examples of their offensive here. I put these things out of order, and I want to make sure that they are in order again, because some of them, okay. Sorry, let me go back. 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 Okay, so we're at Camp X-Ray in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. Now, at Camp X-Ray, where'd it go? Here we are. They have all kinds of people perpetually incarcerated for carrying out terrorist activities against American forces around the globe. Now, why does anybody here know why we have? Thank you, Peridot, for Bausch. I want to make sure I get that in there so people know if they want to go over there and follow him. He's got his own YouTube channel. Does anybody know why we sent these people to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba?
Because if they came to American court system, they would get off on technicalities and sensitivities, and these people are basically Islamophobic, racist, redneck bigots, and so yeah, they need.
Okay, you're exactly, yeah, you're right. If we brought them to, is just as soon as they got on American soil, then we would have to extend to them Fifth Amendment rights, where they have the right to discovery, and they could start petitioning the government for all kinds of information, military secrets and such, in order to prepare a defense. And that would be, and again, you would have people like CARE going down there. Let's go ahead and defend these people. So this is why we house them offshore. Sharon, were you going to say something?
Yeah, that would be like putting Hitler in our court system.
That makes all the sense in the world, right?
That's
exactly what they wanted to do.
Put a hole in that ship and let them sink.
I wouldn't have a problem with that. As a matter of fact, just as soon as this happened, a guy that worked for me, his battalion brought him back because he was attached to the unit that I was in. But anyway, they bring him back and they put him on a plane to go to Afghanistan. And then they send him to Cuba to guard these guys, just as soon as right after 9/11 happened. He didn't think it was funny, but anyway, okay, so this is Camp X-Ray. This is where they're doing this. And if you all remember this little episode they had there where they get the Muslims in the camp, they had this big coup, or they had this big, wanted to riot over the handling of the Quran, and how the infidels down there, the infidel MPs down there, would dare to touch their Qurans without having their nasty, dirty, defiled fingers touching a holy book. And it created this uproar within the system there. But the reason why they were going through this is because these guys are smuggling letters and messages to each other inside of these books. And it just wasn't the Quran, it was other books that they were using. And then you had this big to do about, the way that they're treated. You have all these people that have sandbags put over their heads. They are deprived of their senses. You put goggles on them that are completely covered in duct tape so they can't see out. You put earmuffs on them so they can't hear anything. And then you muzzle them so they can't run their yips. Rad made a good catch on this when I sent this to him. He goes, "Are these guys, like, is this during COVID?" And
yeah, they're all wearing They're all wearing masks.
Yeah, but it wasn't during
See,
COVID.
this
This is
yeah.
SOP just as soon as they started this. But if you notice how these guys, all their hands are cut, it's because these guys are killers and they would do anything they possibly could to kill the guards that are around them. So this is why, and this, of course, it created a big uproar in the Muslim world. Oh, look at you teaching our fellow brothers who tried to kill you. You haven't. And look at this guy. This guy looks like he's been eating a little too well there in the caves of Afghanistan. Anyway, I got a belly roll like that coming. Not that big, but I mean, pull your pants up for Pete's sake. I mean, do the guy. That's disgusting. But this was what was publicized throughout the world. So you had this big furore where everybody's offended because we are evidently mistreating, which we were not, but we were mistreating not only the Muslims at Gitmo who are trying to kill our servicemen overseas. How dare us try to do that? But then at the same time, we're mishandling their Quran. It's a bunch of crap, is what it was. Again, perpetual butthurt over every little thing. The next one, and this is kind of, I don't want to say my favorite in the sorts of word where I think this was the right thing to do, but this kind of illustrates what American torture is versus ISIS torture is. And Abu Ghraib. Y'all remember Abu Ghraib? I'm pretty certain. Yeah, okay. Abu Ghraib. Nobody wants to let us forget it. And here you have pictures where the detainees are basically they're being shown a lesson in humility. And let me just preface that. When you start talking about getting information extracting information from these guys, we do not set them down in electric chairs and give them the shock treatment. We don't pull off fingernails. All these things that you traditionally think of torturing people with. We're more subtle about it now today. If that's not a good way to put it. Like waterboarding, for example. Waterboarding is not hurting the prisoner at all. Waterboarding is giving the prisoner the sensation that they're drowning, but they're not drowning. It just gives them the sensation. So is that torture? Compared to what ISIS and other Islamic elements would do to United States soldiers or civilians if they ever got a hold of them? No, that's a walk in a park. But that doesn't justify it. I get that. And this is one of Obama's big things. We won't torture. We don't torture. However, part of that, breaking them down, breaking down their mentality that they are just big, brave soldiers out there on the battlefield, is to show them how truly helpless they are. They are under our control now. You've been beaten, and they don't understand that. So part of that is stripping them of everything they have and parading them around and treating them like they're not even humans, like this female MP is doing with this naked jihadi. And there's other pictures here where they would bring dogs in and they would threaten them with dogs, not biting them, but threatening them, scaring them, giving them the feeling that they are not in control. And of course, they're stripped completely naked. But this is what you get after this. This is what you have. Oh my gosh, they're doing this to our fellow Muslim brothers, and we can't. How dare the Americans do this? And this is what this is what's so crazy about this. Here you have processes. This is very distinct and scripted processes that were in place in Abu Ghraib, where they are doing this to break down the detainees, so the detainees will provide us information so we don't have to torture them physically. And yet they're complaining about that. So again, this is the butthurt, regardless of what unless we are giving them Slurpees and having them, stay in air-conditioned. This is the type of response that you're going to get, and this is what we see here. This guy, he's all been out of shape, crying because the Americans would dare to treat people, his fellow terrorists, like they were terrorists. Again, perpetual butthurt.
I have a question. Do you think it's actually an efficient means that would actually work? They've said that waterboarding doesn't work. Do you think we could have done a better, that the United States could have done a better?
No, Issa, waterboarding works. It does work.
But how do you know they won't lie? Like, I think if
you don't, and that's the thing. This is why you have trained interrogate. This is what they're trained to do. They're trained to get information they know is the truth, and then get them into giving you something that you know that they don't know, that they have to lie about. And you know that they're lying, but they're trying to tell you that, well, no, we're telling you. There's all kinds of different ways to go at them when doing this. It isn't, like you see in the movies. It's much different, and it's a much more controlled environment. Now, I'm not saying that it's very distressing for the person who's going through. I'm not saying that. That's not true. It is, because they think they're giving this sensation that they're drowning, but they are going to give you information. And they're going to give you information that is, number one, and a lot of times that it was used, immediate, to prevent attacks that are going out onto the battlefield at that time. And they can also give you all kinds of other. There's just, it is very effective. Now, have there been? Have there been people that have beaten this? Yes, there are people that can resist that, but the number of that is like 1 in 1,000. It's just.
I personally believe that 12-volt car battery and jumper cables find that to be extremely effective. Or I was actually thinking, get someone hooked on heroin and then take the heroin away. And dude, a junkie will say anything to get that next fix. See that? Safe and effective.
Steve, were you going to say something?
I would be a very good paying technician. See, that's what the torturers need to be called now. Paying technicians.
Do you think that this is like ethical though? Like, this is the thing. Like, I don't know if any government should do these kinds of things.
What should we do then, Issa?
Huh?
What should we do then?
I don't know. Like, it's you're right. It's a difficult question. I can't say I know the exact answer off the top of my head, but I feel that if we do this, it can make us look very uncivilized as people. I do hear your critique where the person's getting upset about this, because like, would they do the same thing to the other people if the shoe was on the other foot? What would it be? I think that's a question you could ask, but I don't know. I think personally, you can put like moles into different spaces. You could do, reconnaissance. You could do certain kinds of things where we don't like abuse people. I don't know, that to me it just seems really horrifying and like really inhuman. It seems like we become a savage person. I don't know if I would feel
warfare is. I mean, it's not. I mean, you're shooting at people. Isn't that savage enough?
I think military usage should be used differently in general. I think a lot of the fat cat bureaucrats make very bad decisions and they don't understand what they're doing. A lot of them are extremely ignorant and arrogant. This is just my personal opinion from what I've seen. A lot of these people are not even military personnel themselves who make these decisions for military. And I think it creates issues. I take more of a Rand Paul position. I think we should be more isolationist in general. I don't think we should be invading other places.
That doesn't address the waterboarding issue. That doesn't address the the butt hurt and the offense here. That's all fine and dandy for the politicians to do, but when the reality is then you're on the ground. Here's a great example, and it's out there and it's public. So this isn't a secret. You guys all know who Alan West is. Alan West is
Batman.
He's he's the guy that's out in Texas.
I thought it was bad. Oh, that's Adam West.
Yep.
Sorry.
No,
Adam West.
No.
I was with Steve on that one. What are you going to tell me? Batman was really a superhero?
No, okay. Adam West. Would you? Golly, you got me mixed up now. Alan West is, as a matter of fact, he ran for governor against the guy in Texas, Greg Abbott, Republican, very outspoken, was a lieutenant colonel in the Army. And they were in the process of interrogating a suspect they knew who had the information of where they were going to set up an ambush for one of his units. And in the process of this, during the process of the interrogation, he gets in there, and he pulls out his 9mm and puts it right up into the guy's ear and shoots a round off right by the guy's ear. Just as soon as he did that, the guy started singing like a jaybird, because he says the next one's going to put is going to be between your eyes. Starts singing like a jaybird. Is that torture? You don't have to answer. I'm just saying there are things that happen. There are things that happen out there that have the immediacy we don't understand. We have the luxury of sitting here, 7,000 miles away, 8 time zones removed, of saying, look, we should not do that. And again, a lot of times it does offend your sensibilities. But when we start talking about sensibilities, what is more cruel of, fragging somebody? What is more cruel of, calling an airstrike on a position? What is more cruel of laying down, massing direct fire on a position and killing people? Again, you can make all kinds of excuses for that. Here's what the reason why we're discussing this is because these guys became incensed over what happened at Abu Ghraib, and they made a mockery out of our military intelligence gathering capabilities. Because what happened in Abu Ghraib was not anything near what was described as this cruel, horrific place. These prisoners were, number one, well-fed, number two, well-protected from each other and the prison guards. They weren't threatened. They were being put through a psychological routine to show their helplessness. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? And in that process, they were socially degraded amongst each other and within the guards to show the hierarchy of the system that they were operating within. So this way, or therefore, when they would be coming in for interrogation, they would know that they have no authority over the interrogator, and they would be have a propensity to be more truthful. That was the whole purpose behind it. But it got blown up into this big hot mess where they wanted to start making, all these excuses, saying, look how evil they are. It's the same thing that's going on right now with the Hamas holes in Gaza. They sit there and make every excuse under the sun that, the Israelis are, killing our children. They're killing our women. They're killing our people. Well, you're hiding behind them. Why don't you do the manly thing instead of quit acting like cowards and come out and actually defend these people against the Israelis if this is in fact what they're doing? And they won't, because they're a bunch of cowards. And I know you disagree with me, so I know that. Steve, go ahead.
I was in the Middle East when that Abu Ghraib thing happened, and I tell you what, I'm almost tempted. I mean, I hate the New York Times. I think they're anti-American, they're communist, and especially anti-Christian. But I wonder if those pictures weren't leaked by the government to the New York Times to put them on. The reason being, I was there. I got to see the impact of those pictures on the men there. The impact of those pictures was so psychologically devastating to the Muslim psyche that this little blonde girl is doing this to this big hero jihadi who's fighting in the cause of Allah, humiliating him like that, you see. And what that did to the Muslim psyche and self-perception, it was devastating. I mean, seriously,
humiliating
even humiliating beyond anything you can imagine for the Arab man, with our pride and our arrogance and our self concept, the way fighting in the cause of Allah, and to be humiliated by this little kafir girl like this. It was I wonder if the government didn't do that on purpose.
It's a little Catholic girl doing this to us. Again, again, it was completely out of proportion. But I can see the perception of, having their fellow jihadists, degraded like this. And again, this is what you get. But when we compare this, let's just make a comparison, shall we? Yes, let's go ahead and compare this. When we compare what true terrorism looks like, or what true offense looks like, okay, so you set off bombs in our buses and on our subways, and what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to be nice about it. Is that what's said? How about blowing up our trains like they did in Madrid, Spain, trying to sway an election there? Is that okay? What about, this is the one that really, as a school teacher, just guts me, is this, was it Beslan, Russia, where they killed all them kids? Over 200 kids were killed in that school.
Right.
That where is your manhood, for God's sake? You're going to take little children and slaughter them like that in the name of your cause? Come on. Where was the Islamic outcry and butthurt over that, complaining about what they did to these kids?
Because their prophet said they are of them. That's why it's okay for them to attack children.
Yeah, it was there. I know exactly what you're saying, and this is where you start. We're shelling them, and they might kill some Muslims. Well, they are of them, and if it's not, it's Allah's will that they die. Yeah, it's sick, is what it is. And then who can forget these pictures from ISIS parading 30. What country were these guys from? They did this.
They were Egyptians in Libya.
Okay, Egyptians in Libya. There we go. Because I knew they were foreigners in a different country. I couldn't remember how that went.
Coptic Christians.
Yeah, cut their heads off. Where was the outcry over that? I didn't see any outcry over that. What about where we saw almost like a daily dosage of this, where they would haul people out and hack their heads off? But they're more concerned about Muslims being mistreated at Abu Ghraib or at Gitmo, where the average prisoner gained 25 pounds. It's absolutely ridiculous. So how about burning them alive, for God's sake? They set this Syrian pilot.
Jordanian. He was Jordanian.
Oh, Jordanian. There we go. I'm sorry. That was Syrian. Or cooking them alive. There you go. Not just burning them alive, roasting them like they're a piece of meat. Or, burning Yazidi women to death. Any outcry there? Got it? Any butt hurt there? No. We don't have that. I don't even go out about that. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I talked about this already, where the French teachers walk out after Muslim. Okay, the Renaissance paintings. Then you have our Pope sincerely regrets offending Muslims. Where is it? Oh, y'all remember this episode? The Terry Jones going to burn the Quran thing. Yeah. Remember the big to-do they had about that? And this guy. Oh my gosh, this guy right here. Have you guys ever heard of this guy, Omar Suleiman?
Yes.
Okay, this guy is an asshat. Notice what he says here: quelling the obsession with burning the Quran, addressing Islamophobia as a policy matter, would rob Quran burners of the attention they seek. Okay, so just so you know that this guy is not who he says he is.
Okay.
I went in and I probably spent maybe 30 minutes last night going through his Twitter account, looking at some of his posts. And he has everybody, they try to portray themselves as being, what's the word, kind of in the middle, not in the middle of the road, but they're more tolerant, more wanting to reach across the aisle to get along, to have this, what is that called when you
interfaith dialogue?
There we go, the interfaith. I'm the interfaith guy. I want to get along.
I thought you were.
Yeah. Okay.
No,
not me. Okay. This is what this guy Said, let's see here.
By the way, this guy really thinks Muhammad was good looking. He really does.
Well, how does he know that?
No, because there's video. He's more handsome than the moon, and his nose was perfectly proportioned, and his eyes were perfectly slanted, and his mouth was just a smile. It was just a humble smile, and it's just so attractive. This guy really, and his skin was so clean and didn't have no zits and nothing. There's a video of this guy doing that, but anyway, sorry to change the subject.
No, did he have a picture of Muhammad?
Hey, this is all hadith, my friend.
Oh,
all hadith.
Golly. What is this, Sharon? Mo suffered from adult onset acromegalia.
Yeah, he had what they call giantism. He had a scar on his face, teeth.
Okay, can you put some clothes on this guy so I'm not so...
Well, he's going to Isha's room. You know, he did wear her clothes.
Yeah, how's he going to put her clothes on if he's got clothes on?
And he also has that humpback. But he also, some books, they based their, what they said off of the hadith and the surah. And it sounded like he had TLE, which was epilepsy. You know, and it's not.
Yeah, I've heard those things.
Yeah, and
the epileptic attacks. I've heard that.
Okay, I'll change my thing.
And I appreciate that.
Okay.
I have to go out and do some wudu or something for the show. Okay, so let's get back to the Suleiman clown. Let me pull this back up. Here we go. All right. So here's something he has on there. Let's see here. American Muslim scholar gave a speech in front of 400,000 protesters in Washington, D.C. The Global Day of Action, a coordinated effort calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. Behind me, you have over 200 martyrs. Martyrs, these are the Hamas holes that died. I don't know, but if you notice, you have this Global Day of Action calling for a ceasefire. Why don't you have a call to have all those hostages released before the ceasefire? Why don't we get the hostages released and then we'll stop? And that's what the Israelis will say. You know, you stop, you release our hostages, and we'll think about a ceasefire. But you don't hear that, do you? No. Let's see here. And then he starts coming up with the South African charges. Israel's defended at The Hague. Yeah, and these charges are bogus as the day is long. That Israel's wars crimes have already been exposed. Again, so he's already convicted them in his mind. And, you know, I would say I'm just as guilty of that also, but I don't try to hide my biases either. I think the Hamas holes are terrorists and they all deserve to be lined up and shot. And that would be a kind thing to do to them. The U.S., UK will bomb Yemen to both distract from the genocidal trial against Israel. No, we won't. We'll bomb Yemen to destroy their ability to interrupt and disrupt international shipping there in the Red Sea. The whole world is watching as warmongers further reveal their hypocrisy. This is what a jihadist would say, something a jihadist or somebody who supports these jihadist terrorists would say. This guy is no interfaith clown. And then again, he's trying to make an excuse. Zionism is not anti-Semitism. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It is anti-Semitism because they always hide their anti-Semitic attitudes behind anti-Zionism. Anti-Zionism is what? Jews returning to homeland. So what do you do with the Jews that are already there? Asshat. Well, you have to remove them. Well, how do you remove them? Do you ask them kindly to leave? Or are you going to pay them for their property? Where are you going to move them to? No. Anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism, regardless of what clown outfit you put that on. And then look at, he posts this guy. This is that freak that killed 3 Palestinian kids in Vermont. And let's see about what a good man he was. Have we heard about any stories about what a good man this guy was? Have we heard anything? I don't think so.
Who is it?
And this is the guy, he killed 3 Palestinian kids in November, thinking that he was doing some contributing to the struggle against Hamas or whatever. And these kids had nothing to do other than, they did nothing wrong other than just walking down the street.
I don't think he killed
these are
them. I think
these
he
are
just
college students?
re-injured them.
Okay, one of you need to talk at a time. Steve.
Sorry. Yeah, I don't think he killed them. I think he shot them, but I don't think he killed them.
Oh, okay.
These are the college students.
You're right. It does say shot 3 young ones. Go ahead, Red. Sorry.
These are the college students, right?
I think so. Yeah.
They went to Harvard or something like that. Yeah,
Okay.
that's true. What a moron.
Anyway, but shooting people indiscriminately or just shooting people, shooting people based on their religious convictions or creeds is wrong, regardless of what faith they have, Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, Christian, Jew, whatever. It's wrong, period. He does not make the decision.
Well, I appreciate that. I think that's really important. I think that's a part of the American tradition, is we have freedom of religion, and you don't have to agree with people, but you can stand up for people to have the freedom of speech. So
and we don't shoot people because of it either. So this guy needs to go to prison.
100%.
And he will for a very long time.
There you go. Let's see here. Pop star Justin. Listen to these. Okay, now this is on October 11th. This is the bodies aren't even flipping cold yet. And look what he's posted. Justin Bieber is posting the words praying for Israel. This is on Justin Bieber's Twitter account, evidently. Yeah, 50 million followers. Not that I like Justin Bieber. I couldn't tell you one song that the guy sang. I know he's a singer, right? He's not an actor. Am I right?
He has a movie too, but yeah.
Oh my God. I don't know. Like Eminem with
he was the kid that started on YouTube. He was like one of the original YouTubers.
Okay. I don't care. I don't care. He's a singer.
How can you not care about Justin Bieber? I'm offended.
I'm offended. I'm offended at you.
Have the beat. His
I'm
songs
a
like
Bieberphobe.
Stuck With You, Yummy, Ghost, Peaches. What do you mean? He did an English version of Despacito. So yeah, those are the kind of songs. One time.
Okay. I don't know anything about Justin Bieber, but all I know is he's praying for Israel. So what does this clown do? This is the next level delusion. I mean, you can't pray for these people who just were slaughtered in their beds by this guy. This guy is not. This is October 7th, when Israel defends itself. Israel had not fired a flipping shot other than pushing the Gazanians back into Gaza. When Israel defends itself against Palestinians, its response is as inhumane and cruel as the apartheid it skillfully operates on a daily basis. Entire families get annihilated, and the world says nothing. The only way to end this vicious cycle is to end the vicious occupation. That's right. That's right, Dr. Omar. Get rid of all the Jews. Send them back to Europe, where they all came from. Right. Which is a lie. That's going to end the occupation. This is the ignorance that you have to deal with.
And you got to find out what does he mean by occupation?
Exactly, and that's the point I'm trying to make. Occupation of what? At the conclusion of World War II, actually World War I, that entire region was divided up, and at the conclusion of World War II, after the horrors of the Holocaust were finally realized, and what anti-Semitism really looks like, they give Israel, the Jews, a little sliver of flippin' land where they originally came from. Oh, by the way, so when we start talking about who's really indigenous and who's really the occupier here, we can go that route too. They give them this little sliver of land, and every Arab nation in the region attacks them because of it. This is the type of rhetoric that perpetuates this hatred. This is the type of rhetoric. And next week, I think we're going to do a show on UNRWA, because they have, looking at some of the stuff that they do is just really gotten my goat. I mean, I have lost my flipping mind with UNRWA. Here's an organization, guys. Here's an organization, UNRWA. UNRWA has watched and has administered the theft of billions of my taxpayer dollars. Now, I haven't paid billions of taxpayer dollars. I wouldn't be doing this if I did. I don't own whatever. But they facilitated the theft of billions of my dollars, to my taxpayer dollars. And I don't get me wrong, I thank God that I can pay. I have to pay taxes. Where these Hamas whole leaders are shacked up in Qatar, gutter, whatever you want to call it, and they're billionaires. That's my money they stole that UNRWA gave them. They also gave them all the facilities and materials, not to build school. They knew what was going on. But to build all of these tunnels and all of these bunkers to protect themselves, because they knew what they were going to try to do to the Jews, because they can't defeat them militarily. So what do? They dig a hole in the ground and hide, and then put all their women and children in front of them to defend them. This is what cowards do. And UNRWA facilitated all of this. Let me go back to what this clown says. This just burns my butt. Let's see right here. Now look at this. On March 28, tens of thousands of Gazans mounted to the fence unarmed, demanding, and he reposted this. He didn't post this. Israel killed 223 Palestinians, and Israeli snipers left 61 Palestinians with life-changing wounds. Not a single Israeli experienced any major physical harm. Which, okay, number one, it would have been great, according to this post, that if a bunch of Israelis would have been experienced major medical harm. That would have been the goal here. But these numbers here: 223 Palestinians and killed. What is this? Israel killed 223 Palestinians and wounded 6,100 more. Where do these numbers come from? Does anybody know?
According to CNN, or
No, I tell you where they come from. They come from the same organization that told us that the Israelis bombed a hospital, killed 500 people one night in November.
oh, the New York Times. Then, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. These numbers are Barbara Streisand. They're just baloney. So when we start thinking about this guy, this Suleiman guy, he can kiss it. Let's see, parents pulling their dead children from rubble nowhere. Well, apparently POTUS deleted. I don't have that up. I'm sorry. I'll put this back up here. Yeah, so he's calling Blinken and Biden murderers. Yeah, what a guy. While we are left with the videos of parents pulling their dead children from the rubble, nowhere to be seen in Western media. Oh, and apparently POTUS and Blinken deleted tweets calling for a ceasefire. Now, who knows who this lady is? Does anybody know who this lady is?
Is that? I think I know her. She was. I was in Gaza when she was killed.
Isn't that the one that got ran over by the
Tank.
dumpster? Was it a tank or a bulldozer or something?
You talking about Rachel Corrie?
Rachel Corrie. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that her?
Oh, I just want peace in the Middle East.
Okay, this lady was an aid worker and got a boyfriend and got in the wrong place of Syria and was kidnapped by ISIS and was married off to Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, as Trump would say, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, and then eventually was killed by ISIS. Now, her family in Prescott, Arizona, lived within a mile of where my dad lived. And they had, anyway, I'm not going to tell the story, but anyway, that whole family ended up, the outpouring of support from the people in Prescott for that family and wanting to get this girl brought back was just all, you could not imagine how they rallied around her. And this is the type of crap that this faith system teaches. that your right hand can possess another human life, and at the same time, if your right hand possesses that, you can do whatever the hell you want to it, to include rape it. And that's what they did to this girl. For I don't know how long she was in captivity. I know it was well over a year.
Do you know her name?
Kayla Miller. Kayla Miller.
Okay.
And it just, she was 19, 20 years old, wasn't very old at all. And just thinking of that just disgusts me when I start thinking about these clowns. It just
isn't this the one that they could have rescued her. General Flynn actually had the intel to rescue her. And because of the Biden administration, the way it was set, not Biden administration, Obama administration, where everything was set up, they had to wire the special cable, wait for it to be decoded, send it off to the Pentagon people. Pentagon people had to review it with their lawyers. Then they had to go to the White House and make the recommendation. And then they had to send it back and give them the go-ahead. By the time they got the go-ahead, already like 6 hours had passed or something like that. And they had already moved her. Is that the one?
I don't know. I
think so, yeah. And Flynn testified to that in Congress, and that's when they wanted it to go out.
Yeah, well, you have to be able to, if you're that slow moving and you have to, to go that high up in order to take lethal action, you're not fighting a war. It's just Vietnam all over again. So
That's how we were able to get Baghdadi. Trump said, "Nope, you guys make the determination on the ground. I trust you. You do what you do."
Right.
And that was that.
Okay, that's all I have. Good news I have for the evening. Does anybody have anything for the call?
Hey, I had a business idea. I'd like to get some investment. I was thinking of starting the post-rapture towing company, because there's going to be a lot of cars left all over the streets, and we can have like a special deal after the rapture for the, because the Christians' cars are going to remain here, you guys, and they're going to need to move them. And we could have like a special rapture deal to tow those cars away.
Do you need money for the company itself to raise money?
And to buy the truck.
Okay, and you're going to be the sole proprietor of this, or are you going to have staff?
I'm hoping I won't be here, but I'm going to set up.
Hedging your bets, huh? Just in case.
If I am here, maybe radical, I can let you take. No, I'm just kidding.
I often think, maybe, I'm not a rapture kind of person, but, let's say that there is, maybe it already happened and we all missed it and we're all screwed.
I thought that happened with Eric today, but he came back.
He came back. He came back, though. No, I was ready to take over the show, and he ruined my dastardly plan.
Yeah.
Didn't we have some Musa guy wanting to come on the show?
I didn't see him type it in the chat. After we got through the meat of everything, I thought we'd let him in, but evidently he's.
Yeah, I guess he ran away. Yeah. Oh, that's sad. I really wanted to hear what he had to say. But anyway, yeah, that's true. But anyway, yeah. So, bottom line on this whole thing with the suppression Olympics, everything is offensive. I mean, we went over. Some of you guys weren't there, but we went over this stuff on their Islamic law in the Reliance of the Traveler with Paul, although Paul's not here. And I brought it up. I mean, I'm looking at this. I mean, the stress level that they have. I mean, the simplest things will invalidate your prayer. You know what I mean? Think of that stress level, man. What that would do, you don't even know all that time and energy you're doing on doing these 5 daily prayers a day, and you don't know if Allah's going to accept them or not. And the slightest thing can invalidate them. That's a big stress level. So everything about them is this whole thing where they walk around and they got this chip on their shoulder, and they dare you to knock it off. And then when you do, they get mad. I mean, Islam is a religion of two angers or two moods: anger and rage.
Butt hurt.
Yeah. Well, that's not very professional.
Butt hurt in perpetuity. What are you talking about here, brother? If you have, post your YouTube channel in chat. If you want to, I don't have a problem with you doing that. Okay, Sharon, Issa, do you guys have anything for the cause before we go today? Looks like I'm late for church already, but
I just wanted to thank you for hearing my position. I know I'm a little bit lefty on these things, and I'm sorry that I take a slightly different approach on this, but it's ideal. I'm aware that I take an idealist approach, and that's kind of where I stand. And I wish it could be true that we don't have any of these kind of things, but I am aware that they do exist. So, please forgive me all for understanding.
I appreciate you coming on the show so I can show that how you're wrong and I'm right, and it makes me look good. So I
appreciate that. Thank you.
You bet. Okay. Nico Serpico 777. If you want to go over and look at his YouTube shorts, not this, you know what I'm saying. Anyway.
Not during our show. Not during our show. You stay on our show.
Yeah,
you
sure.
go nowhere.
Yeah. My last thing is, everybody says Islam is just a religion, but it's really a deen, and religion is just a part of it. And we are fooled by it only being a religion.
And that's why we're here every Sunday. That's why we're here every Sunday, to expose that, because when we start looking at what it teaches, not only theologically, but making those theological applications to what happens on the ground. It's what happened on October 7th. It's just a spilling over of what that teaches. It has this Palestinian issue, guys. I'm going to say it again. Has nothing to do with land and has everything to do with a 7th century madman out there that we're no longer allowed to talk bad about because it might be offensive. If you're offended, don't watch the show, tune into something else, or move to Pakistan. I don't care which one you do. All right. God bless everybody. And we will see you here next week on the Cross and the Crescent discussion group.
Hey, Steve, stick around for a bit. I want to talk to you.
Who?
Steve, stick around for a bit. I want to talk to you.
Doesn't want to talk to me. Okay. Where's my cold clothes? Where's the cold clothes? Cold clothes. Cold clothes.
Play the Hamas guy. Play the son of Hamas.
Play the Hamas guy. We already played him.
Advanced student and specialist. That the standard narrative has holes. That's what
that the Muslims were rioting against one another. And as much as we don't want to face the fact, the Muslims were lying sometimes. They were fabricating, they were embellishing, and that might be hard to accept, but that is a reality.